Happy Finish Friday, everybody. I am excited to be with you today and show you how to create something that is really going to allow you to up your finishing game. So I am here. We're all, of course, this is quarantine. I'm here in my kitchen. So I'm going to apologize to you firsthand. There's a little bit of an echo in here. So I'll try to speak loud enough, and just know that we are recording this so that way we're going to create a blog post and we'll send it out to you later, as well as when we send this out this next week, we've got a GoPro above us here, so it is going directly on top of where I'm working. So it's going to give you some really good detail shots if you can't see it as well from the iPhone here on this Facebook Live. So my name is Amy Howard, and I am the founder and creator of all the products here at Amy Howard at Home. So a lot of people don't realize, as far as my history, I have been designing and rescuing and restoring furniture for over 30 years. This is something that I love doing. I'm very passionate about it. And so there is a rhyme and a reason behind every product that I develop and how it can be used and incorporated with the other products. So it allows me to be able to show you how you can transform your cabinets, your furniture, your floors, your walls, anything in your home. So today I'm going to show you how to be able to create custom waxes. Now, we get asked on a daily basis about matte sealers, sealing, waxes, that type thing. What comes first? What comes last? You'll always need to remember that the last thing you do is a wax. You cannot put a sealer on top of a wax. But I want to also remind you, the one-step paint that we have is formulated so you do not have to seal it if you don't want to. There are other chalk-based paints out there that if you didn't seal them, they literally would come off if you wipe them with a wet rag. The one-step paint is not that way. So it allows you a lot of versatility. And you can clean it, you can scrub it. It will not leave watermarks. But the reason for doing a wax is more for a patina. It's to allow you some versatility. So what I want to show you today is how you can take not only the dust of ages and the one-step paints to be able to add to my Mind Your Own Beeswax and create a glazed effect that is also your wax. So it's a one-stop shop. So after you have cleaned your piece, you have applied 2 coats of the one-step paint. It's not one coat, it's one step. Then you can come back and put your wax on. Now, those of you that know I have an art history background, Jean and I love rescuing antiques. We love having antiques all over our home. And I love the patina that fine piece of furniture gives me. And so when I am painting a piece like this, I love using the wax because it gives me a pretty patina. So let me just show you some tricks. Today's going to be a little bit shorter, but it can really change your finishing game, I promise. All right, so one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can take the dust of ages and the Mind Your Own Beeswax in a squeezable form and make more of a zinc colored wax. So as far as the formula is concerned, when you are making custom waxes, you're going to do 2 parts wax and 1 part paint, or 1 part dust. Is everybody with me? So you're going to use 2 parts, meaning if you have a teaspoon or a tablespoon or whatever, it's 2 parts to 1 part. So now I'm going to take a little bit of my dust of ages and I'm going to put it in here. It's a lot like cooking. And this is going to give me a gorgeous gray color that can be my wax. The other thing that you need to do, and when we talk about waxes, if you're doing a colored wax like this, it's not necessary for you to do the light wax first. These are your colored waxes, and it's not necessary for you to seal it beforehand. This is a one-step process. Now, look how I've mixed that together. See that beautiful kind of zinky colored dark gray wax? Isn't that beautiful? Can you see that? All right, so now I want to be able to show you. I'm just going to make sure I've mixed that just a little bit. Other people will ask me too, Amy, what do I clean the wax with off of my brushes? The answer to that is going to be either the Clean Slate or a paint thinner. So the Clean Slate is not a paint thinner, but it does have a cleaning ability in it to be able to change and get your wax cleaned off your brush. The other thing is too, when you are using the wax and you're going to be applying a brush, applying the wax with the brush, do not use a synthetic brush. I want you to use a chip brush. This is a natural bristle brush that you will always apply your wax. So let me just restate that again. You can apply your wax with a rag. You can apply it with a brush. But if you do it with a brush, do not use a synthetic brush. You want to make sure you use a natural bristle brush. And I like having designated wax brushes. And you'll always clean these with Clean Slate or paint thinner, not soap and water. So I'm just going to I have taped this off because I wanted to be able to show you just different colored waxes that I'm going to mix up. And I'm going to put this on just a little bit here and come back. Can y'all tell? I'm a crafter. I love making things, doing things with my hands, and it doesn't bother me to use my hands to be able to touch it. I'm gonna come back with my brush just a little bit. You can get down in the crevices with this if you want to on your piece. You can do a striated wood grain effect with this. Let me apply a little bit more of this with my rag. Now, this was a Luxe gray color that we're working on top of that we worked with last week. Now I'm just barely coming back on top of this because I'm wanting to create just a very soft kind of striated look. Believe it or not, this can make a huge, huge difference. Can y'all see that okay on the camera? Should I lift that just a little bit? Let me just kind of lift that up. All right, does that allow you to kind of be able to see that just a little bit more, guys? All right, there again, remember, we're gonna be, we're doing this on a GoPro. We've got an overhead, so I'm gonna be sending this out this week so you can see it. All right, so now I'm gonna mix another color. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna make a black wax. Now, I'm gonna be using my One Step Black, and some people will say, can I use other paints with this? And the answer is no. To try to go in and take an acrylic based paint, which has qualities of more of a of plastic, it's not going to give you as pretty a finish. That's part of the beauty and how I've developed all these products to be able to work together. The One Step paint has a beautiful matte finish to it, so that way when you're incorporating it into your waxes, it's also sealing your piece and it's giving you a glazed textured look. So here's a great example as far as being able to see this paint that I am working with. This is our Luxe Gray if it was just plain, but now you're going to see by adding these different waxes what a big difference it makes. So there again, what are we working with? 2 parts wax, 1 part paint. So it's really a lot of fun if you think about French blues and all the different colors of the One Step paint that you can make into custom waxes. Now, when you make these waxes, they're good for several weeks. Now look at this. Look at that. Isn't that yummy? We are getting ready to show you a blog post that some of our contributors here at Amy Howard Home will use these dark waxes and mix these up to be able to really transform their pieces. Now, can you see that? Isn't that fabulous? That's like liquid gold. I love this. All right, so now I've got a gorgeous black wax just by adding my black One Step with my Mind Your Own Beeswax. So now I'm just gonna load this up with my brush. Look at that, isn't that yummy? Now, you'll notice the other thing that I'm doing, I am working on a paper plate, a chinette that has some absorption to it. Don't use a coated paper plate and don't use a ceramic plate or anything to work on. I like having a little bit more absorption here so that way I can offload it. I always will use like a chinette on this when I'm actually mixing my waxes. All right, so I'm gonna pop over here. So if you can you get a little closer so they can see it? All right, so I'm gonna come in here like this. The cool thing about it is when you're working with dark waxes, I'm gonna hold this up just a little bit so you guys can see this. Does that help just a little bit more? All right, the cool thing is when you're working with dark waxes, if you get too much on or you don't like the texture of it, come back with some 4/0 steel wool and thin it out, soften it. Now I'm gonna come back just a little bit. Look at that, isn't that amazing what that does? If you want to, now I'm working on a flat surface because I wanted you to be able to see what making your custom waxes can do. And also it acts kind of like a glazing effect as well as a sealant. If you want to do it a little bit thinner, you can. You can get down, you can come back and get down in the crevices. So a lot of people will talk about in doing their kitchen cabinets, on doing pieces of furniture that has fluting and things on it. Look how far this black wax has gone that I have made. Look at that. So if you wanted to, you could come back with a rag and just kind of soften it and pull it out to where that way you've got some darker areas down in the crevices. And this is really the look. A lot of you that are painting your kitchen cabinets right now in quarantine, believe it or not, this is a great look for you. You want to be able to get a glazed look. It's protecting it. And then that way you can get down in the crevices and darken it just a little bit. I love it. And a little bit of it's going to go a long, long way. Depending on the colors that you're working with, now I'm working with a Luxe gray here, and then I'm putting the black wax on top of it. So I'm just coming back this second time because I'm wanting the bristles from this chip brush to give me a little bit of striation. And what it does, it'll pick up on it and it'll make it almost look like it's grainy. Now, like this. So it's gonna dry down more matte, but here's the beauty of your wax. Allow your wax to dry about, I would say 30 minutes to an hour, and then come back with a lint-free rag and buff over it. It's gonna give you a beautiful sheen. You can also use 4/0 steel wool, and that's gonna give you a gorgeous sheen. And it's gonna be protected. A lot of people are worried. They're like, well, I have a lot of children, and we really use our kitchen, or we really use that piece of furniture. Guys, that is perfectly all right. Part of the beauty in this is the fact that once it has cured, and usually takes a few days to cure, you can use it before then, but the longer it's on, the harder it's gonna get. And that allows you to be able to come back with Windex, soap and water, a rag, wipe over it, and it's gonna be beautiful. All right, so now I wanna be able to show you, we've done this we mixed our Dust of Ages, and I wanna show you with the Cerusing Wax. A lot of people will be like, how is that gonna make a difference? Do I have to seal it? The answer is no. Part of the reason with the Cerusing Wax, it's a white wax. It actually has calcium carbonate in it. And it can act as a glaze as well, but also be a protectant. And you can apply it with a brush, but you can also apply it with a rag. And it's going to be a much softer application, but it allows you to be able to see. I'm mixing my waxes just a little bit. I gotta be careful. It's very, very subtle on this gray. That's what I get for not having a clean rag on here. It's very, very subtle. The other thing it allows you to do, you can get down in the crevices a little bit, especially if you've got cabinets that have some fluting or some trim on it. And so this white is going to get down in the crevices and be really, really subtle. I love the consistency of the Cerusing Wax because it allows me to be able to model it a little bit. Look at that. Can you see it? Now, it might not look like a lot, but let me show you. Let's look over here at our original color. See the depth that you can get and how different it can be? I'm gonna lift up this tape because I want you to be able to see it right next to one another. As far as making your custom waxes, remember, your waxes are gonna be the very last thing that you do. The fact that you can mix the one-step paint with your wax gives you so much versatility. The other thing that you need to remember, let me show you this. I've got a couple of items that I wanted to be able to show you. If you are, if you're gilding something, if you're going to be having like something that you gilded in silver leaf, or maybe a picture frame that you gilded in gold leaf, coming back with waxes that you mix the one step in, having a black wax on top of this is beautiful. So that allows you to be able to come back and go down into some of these crevices, allow that black wax to dry, and then come back and you're buffing it through so you get a little bit of a sheen, you get a patina, but you've got that dark black wax down in the crevices. It's what makes it really, really beautiful. Another thing that I want you to do when you are working on furniture, try to have it to where you're focused on primarily around the edges and feathering it in. Because you want to make sure, a lot of people when they're working on furniture, I have noticed, they'll put too much wax on. We want to be able to add some patina, and we want to be able to add a little bit of color, but we want to be really careful about overdoing it and really focusing on adding a little bit more color and protection. Look at that already. Here's this side, didn't have any of the wax on it. Here's my black wax with my Mind Your Own Beeswax. Already it gives me so much patina, such a beautiful look. I'm gonna let this dry about, I'll say 30 to 45 minutes. And then if you forget about it and you wanna do it the next day, that's okay too. And then I'm gonna buff it with a lint-free rag or some 4/0 steel wool. So remember, waxing is the very last thing you do. It's what's going to give your piece of furniture a beautiful patina, the ability to be able to come in, put this on, allow it to dry, and then buff it. And it's gonna look like cabinetry and cabinetry finishing, as Jean and I talk about, that has a lot of depth to it. That's part of the reason why we create this beautiful matte finish for the one-step paint, because it allows the wax to grip and it allows you an incredible amount of versatility, whether you're glazing or maybe you're creating a look that looks like glazing by creating your own custom waxes. So, as always, please ask your questions on this format. We'll go back in and we'll be answering your questions on Facebook. Send us some love, tell us where you're coming from. Jean and I love knowing that. And I want you to know we are so incredibly blessed by our before and after group. If you aren't a part of it, you want to just go to Amy Howard at Home before and after on Facebook. And we have over 7,000 people that are on there doing projects, their kitchens, pieces of furniture. And it is a beautiful, positive, loving community of other people that are just like us, that love rescuing and restoring the over 35 million tons of furniture we throw away in the US every year. Let's be part of going green. And we tell people, go green, save a chair. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next Friday. Bye. Thanks for visiting the Amy Howard at Home channel. If you love DIY projects centered around painting, doing refinishing, and everything in your home, you want to make sure to subscribe by clicking the button below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, so that way you'll be the very first to know about all of our new tutorials and our new projects. You can also view our most recent tutorials to the right. Thanks again for watching.